Hi everyone, welcome to the Kimberly Cloud Show. I'm your host, Kimberly Cloud. Um, so I don't have much to do today except edit a video. I went back to my homework. Everything looked seemingly good. So what I'm gonna do is edit a video. So you get to see me do that. Whoever controls the media controls the mind. True. So while that's going, it has nothing to do with me. I don't control nobody's mind. I don't have that technology like other people do. So anyway, um, let's go ahead and there's certain frequencies. Uh, to be quite honest, I use positive frequencies like the quantum focus, so I can focus. And if you want to focus on what you're doing, then you focus on what you're doing. Other than that, let's edit this video. I'm tired of talking. It's obvious that mainstream media can control your mind through networks. Not to say everybody do it, but it's different frequencies they put out there. You have to listen to a different frequency. Like when they say this is a test of the emergency broadcast system, when you listen to the news, they're streaming from a different frequency depending on which news. So yeah, that's why I didn't want to talk about it. That's why people be putting what is it? Aluminum foil up at their windows. For years, schizophrenics been picking their skin, talking about skin popping, talking about the what did they say? They say the FBI has implanted chips in my body. I don't think that. I would know. Two. Didn't I do hers already? Let me see. I'll look her up in Facebook. I don't want to double dip because there's people out here. Guess not. So we got these two. Wait, what about her? I think I did her before. No? Okay. Obviously, I did do both of them before. If trying to figure out, I do these two back to back. Paul Leviton and and Kimberly Henry. It's not party time for me. It's just the part. What time it is to do the project and get the hell off of here. I don't have time for this. By the time I get off, it'll be bedtime for me. I live a boring life. It's not a dark, dark day. It's a sunny day, like what is it? Sesame Street, chasing them clouds away. The sun chased the clouds away. Somebody need to write a book about weather. I know they like, well, it's already a book. No, about science of weather in a children's book. What the sun do for the sky, why the sky is blue in a comedy sense. Okay, so now I'm gonna go here. I'm about to open it. Y'all can see it in just a second. If I can find it. Final cut, yay! Here comes Santa Claus. What? Oh man. Oh man. I'll do it again. We're gonna do it like this. Oh man. All my stuff get messed up. So go to import it. I had it really nice. Some of these videos are good and some of them are like, whoa. And I can't help that. Only thing I can do is strut like Eddie Murphy say. That's not Kimberly Henry. Where's she at? Right there. Okay, we got both of them on the grid. We gotta change the names. We gotta go back. And now we gotta woo woo. Yeah. Woo woo. Woo woo. All these bars, no police. Let's see how this one looks. Hi everyone, welcome to the Kimberly class. No, that ain't gonna work. Delete that. Where is it at? No, I think this is it. Hi, everyone. Paul Leviton. Part 1. Wait, are y'all all watching me? Oh, crap. I messed up. Paul Leviton. And then continue and Kimberly. Start from the beginning. Hi, everyone. Okay, now what? Um, Show y'all what I'm seeing. That's what. Like, what time are you leaving? I'm tired of leaving too, but I don't want to leave, but I gotta go right now. There we go. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Kimberly Cloud Show. I'm your host, Kimberly Cloud. Before we get started with that, we need a medal. Hi. Okay. Okay. We need music. Hey, Mr. DJ. No, we don't need that one. Before we do that, be back on here at 11. Thank you. Here, and I'll be back on here at 11. Thank you. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Kimberly Cloud Show. I'm your host, Kimberly Cloud. I have a very very, very special guest here today. Can you go ahead and announce to the world who you are back on here at 11? Thank you. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Kimberly Cloud Show. I'm your host, Kimberly Cloud. I have a very, very, very special guest here today. Can you go ahead and announce to the world who you are? Be safe out there, and I will see y'all another time. Bye. Be safe out there, and I will see y'all another time. Bye. I like it because it sounds like an old, you remember, not Mortal Kombat, but Street Fighter, how they used to have that scene where they like beat the car's butt. You have to, Chun-Li would have to sit up there and use her legs to literally jump the car, and everybody would use their leg power to jump the car. That's exactly how they sound. I just want to bring it back. We'll see y'all another time. Bye. Then you got cat and mouse in the middle. Back on here at 11. Thank you. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Kimberly Cloud Show. I'm your host, Kimberly Cloud. Oh, I got to put her on Apple. Make sure I do that tomorrow. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Kimberly Cloud Show. I'm your host, Kimberly Cloud. I have a very special guest here today. Can you go ahead and announce to the world who you are and where you're calling from?
Hi, Kimberly. Thank you so much for having me. My name is Paul Leviton, and I am calling to you from Brooklyn, New York, currently.
Brooklyn in the house. Okay, so Mr. New York or Leviton, can you go ahead and tell me about your past leading up into your present, please?
Yeah, so my present right now is I work as a coach, a self-confidence coach specifically, and I work mainly online with educational programs, helping people become more self-confident, happier versions of themselves. I'm also a podcaster and a public speaker in that same realm. But the way that started is I was a personal trainer. I started as a personal trainer at a gym here in New York City over 10 years ago. And when I was a personal trainer, I started to learn a little bit about self-development and that kind of stuff, and health and mental health and physical health. But in reality, at the time, I was about 22, 23 in New York City. I wasn't really caring about that kind of stuff. I was working just so much as it could fund my nights out in Manhattan, and partying and going to clubs and doing all types of those things that lifestyle comes along with. And I got into a place where I was drinking a lot, I was partying a lot, I was just not doing a lot of things good for me, to the point where I was going out more nights a week than I wasn't. I was, I would stay out till 3, 4 in the morning, and then have to go to the gym for a 6 a.m. client or something like that, and come in probably still drunk, and just wasn't good. And eventually, after years of that, it was not a short time, but I started to kind of think about the future a little bit more, and thinking about what would my life, I was about like 27 at the time, and I had been doing, for about 5 years like that at the gym. Again, I was working enough. So to other people, it seemed like I was successful because I was holding down a job. I was, I was making decent money. I was living in New York City, but, I was to myself just floundering. I was kind of, not going down, but not going up either. I wasn't moving forward in my life in any regard. And I kind of just thought, like, well, if that was 5 years ago that I started, what would 5 more years from this look like? What would happen if I was in my 30s like this? If I became 40 and I still didn't do anything? anything bigger than this, and just was this guy living this life, again, just working enough to afford to be able to go out and party every night, and then that was it. And I decided to change, and I say this like it was a quick one instant. It wasn't. It took a lot of time, but I started to focus a lot of my energy on becoming better at my craft, which at the time was personal training and then nutrition. And I started, instead of going on the weekends and going out to parties, I started going to seminars and going to work-related things that kept me busy. So it kept my mind off of what I was normally doing. And in that, I discovered more and more about personal growth, and again about what I could be if I was using my energy in good ways rather than using my energy to just have fun all the time and have fun.
Can you define using your energy in good ways?
How would
you use your energy in good ways?
When I say use my energy in good ways, like I said, learning, doing positive things, exercising, again, going to bed early so that I could wake up the next morning and do something for the day rather than staying out all night and then having to sleep all day because I was out until 4 o'clock in the morning. Right. So, for me, it became a kind of a binary choice of like, I couldn't live both lives. I couldn't be the guy who was trying to do better, trying to progress his career, trying to become, more successful. And also the guy who was going out all the time, who was, drinking a lot, who was partying all the time, who was sleeping all day and that kind of thing. So that pushed me away from that. And I slowly gave up drinking as much. I gave up partying as much. And I started to really just invest in myself. Like I said, going to seminars, going to weekend conventions, and putting more into me than I was putting out into the world before. And I started to, and then I saw that when I transformed for myself, right, people would come to me like, oh, like that's so cool that now you read books and you give speeches on stage and then you have a podcast and all this stuff. And I just realized that like anyone can do this because there's nothing special about me. Like I just kind of chose to do it. And I also was in a fortunate place where, like I said, it's a lot of it because I was a personal trainer and a nutrition coach already. I understood the tactical aspects of how do you build habits? How do you make a healthy habit? How do you change routines and things like that? And I just took that and took it out of the fitness world and put it more into the daily actionable habits of reading and learning and writing and being more progress oriented in my day-to-day life. And then I started to teach other people how to do that.
So let's dig into you being a wellness coach, a board licensed wellness coach.
Mm-hmm.
About that, because basically you tapered yourself off of the party life. Mm-hmm. Is that correct?
Yeah. So I would say like I'm not like sober. Like I will still have alcohol, now and then, but
but you don't overdo it.
And maybe a handful of times a year as opposed to a handful of times a week. That's it.
Yeah. Can we dig into what you do as a wellness coach? Because I'm gonna dissect everything you have, you've done.
Right. Yeah, I love that. So I am a board licensed health and wellness coach through the NBHWC, which is the National Board of Health and Wellness Coaches. And basically what that means is just a certifying board that gives a little bit more validity to the world of wellness coaching, because a lot of people, in this, it's kind of the new frontier of health and wellness, holistic wellness. A lot of people say that they're a life coach, they're this, they're that. This is, I literally had to, I become a certified coach, then a master certified coach. And then I had to take my licensing exam, which I had to get a couple hundred hours of coaching under my belt before. So there was a rigorous testing protocol that went into that. And I did that for myself. I didn't do that because of the career opportunities that it would bring or anything like that. It was more so like I wanted to know that I was doing at the top, whatever the top of my field is. I wanted to know that I was there and that I could stand with those people. So I wanted to get that certification and go through those hours and take that test and pass it, not because it was like, okay, now I can go and get a job with it. It was more so because if I'm going to coach people, I want to feel in my heart that I am the best at what I do and that I've done all that I can to prepare myself for that.
And what about you being a behavior change specialist and certified nutrition coach? Can you tell me a little bit about those two things too?
Yeah, so as I said, I started as a personal trainer, and then personal training and nutrition kind of go hand in hand because most people want to, lose weight. Most people come to the gym because they want to lose weight, and then you have to, helping them with nutrition is a good piece to be able to add to that equation. But when I started to study nutrition, I got very interested in behavior change, because what I learned very quickly was most people know what to eat. It's not that we don't live in the dark ages anymore. We all have cell phones. Everyone knows what's healthy and what's not. Most people know. Most people would come to me and they'd go, I know I shouldn't be eating so many bagels every morning. So I'm like, well, you just told me what the problem is. So why, what are we doing here? Right. But so the question I became very interested in is like, why are we like that? Why does every human say that there's something that they don't want to do, but they keep doing it? And that was the question that I'm still looking to answer to this day, because that's not an easy question to answer. Why do we take actions that are directly counter to our own best interest? Why do I say I want to exercise, but I hit yes, still watching on Netflix? Why do I say I want to quit smoking, but then I buy another pack? All of these things, they don't make any, right? They don't make any logical sense, but people do them all the time. So I started to study human behavior change, behavioral economics, and that kind of stuff. And it just made sense to me, because I was like, if the answer to helping people were as easy as, hey, follow this plan, everyone would be healthy. Everyone would be happy, right? Everyone would read a book on happiness and go, okay, thank you. And the heavens would open up. But we know that that's not the reality of the world that we live in. It's a little bit more complicated than that. And that's just what became very interesting to me.
What are the key changes that you learned that's in the mind that we have a habitual time doing that we should get out? If you can give us a freebie on that.
Yeah, for sure. There's a lot. I think the most basic one, and again, not basic in the sense that this is easy, but the place that I have to start with everyone is understanding that most of what we think and what we go through in life is a narrative. It's a story that we tell ourselves. So, and we have a very hard time discerning between story and facts, right? So use an example of like, I raised my hand in a meeting, let's say. Everyone sitting around the table, and I raised my hand to speak up. I was very nervous about saying something, but I raised my hand. I said something, and my boss was a little bit dismissive and just went, okay, thank you, next thing. That, it happened. The fact is, I raised my hand. He said, okay, thank you, next thing. The story that goes on in my head was, oh my God, I look so stupid. Everyone's laughing at me. He's hating me. They're probably going to fire me. Once I leave the room, they're probably going to keep talking about me. Why was I so dumb? I should have never done any of this. None of that is real. That only exists.
Now, speaking of what I know now, there are some bullies out there. Now, sometimes the power of changing your thinking can change the outcome of things, yes. But if you know deep down inside that the line that's going on is the truth, it's how you respond to it, changing your thinking. That's why they call it changing your thinking.
Exists inside my brain, but it feels very real. And now that sets off a cascade of events from me, because now I start acting as if that's the true narrative. But I don't know any of that. I only know what actually happened. So when I'm working with clients, I'm always coming back to what are the facts of what's going on. You have to be able to discern what is actually happening and what is something that I feel like is happening. Because if you can't do that, that's how you get stuck in these cycles of like, the world is burning. Oh my God, everything is going wrong. When in reality, if you just look at the facts, you'll 9 times out of 10 start to see that like things aren't as bad as they really feel like sometimes.
In my opinion, well said, by the way, but in my opinion, bad repetitive behaviors, being able to say no to those bad repetitive behaviors by looking, and let me piggyback off of you, at the facts and not fiction of what your mind is telling you that is going on, can be a key trigger change in changing your behaviors for negative thinking with these bad behaviors.
Yeah, 100%. I think that's actually a very important one. I actually have a entire masterclass that I teach on this, on what I call getting out of negative thought patterns, right? Because a lot of times it starts with this little thing. It's like, as you said, it's a trigger. It's this one bad habit or one negative thing in any regard. But it wouldn't be so bad if we could stop it, cut it off at the root. But because these things spiral out of control often, and then they go, or again, I use the health and wellness aspect. That's where I came from again. But just as an easy example, this is the classic example of someone who's on a diet, and then they have a breakfast that they weren't supposed to have, and then they go screw it for the rest of the day, right? Because it's like, oh well, breakfast was bad, so screw it, and then lunch is even worse, and then it gets the end of the day, and then because Monday started off bad, now the whole rest of the week bad. And it's like, if I would have just had that one bad breakfast and gone, okay, this wasn't ideal, how do I move forward from here? I could have stopped the bleeding right there, and I could have that would have been that. But the fact that I let it become such a bigger thing in my head, and I had no tools. We need tools, right? All of this is just very theoretical right now. But I need tools to get out of that pattern when I see it coming. But there is because we can't stop bad things from happening all the time, right? We're going to mess up, whatever the thing is. You're going to have a bad meal if you're on a diet. You're going to miss a deadline if it's a work thing. You and your partner are going to get into an argument once in a while if it's a relationship thing. Those things happen. We can't live in a fantasy land where like everything is good all the time. What we can control is how we react after those things, and do we let the little one bad thing that happened coincidentally turn into a day ruiner, a week ruiner, rest of the month ruiner, or something like that.
Amen to that. Touche. So, if you had to give a piece of advice, I'm going to end it at that. If you had to give a piece of advice to the entrepreneurs that want to be a wellness coach, personal trainer, behavior specialist, certified nutrition coach, what advice would you give them, Paul?
So the best advice that I could give anyone, honestly, especially anyone wanting to be a coach, but literally this works for anyone, is to learn more about people. People skills are the best skills that you can ever have. Right? I might not be, and I'm not the best personal trainer in terms of human biomechanics, right? I can't tell you exactly how the ACL ligament functions on the knee or something like that. But I can tell you that I understand people, and my people skills of interpersonal skills allowed me to become the most successful financially personal trainer in my company, because it's not only about what you know, it's about how you can convey that message. And that is for a coach, but also in a boardroom, also in any situation. So the ability to understand people is a skill that transcends everything else and is invaluable.
Okay. And how can the people reach you, Paul?
Yeah, I would love that. So if anyone wants to find me, I have my own podcast where I talk about a lot of these topics. It's called Happy Healthy Human. It's very easy to find.
Tell us about your podcast before we end.
Okay, yeah. I'd love to. So again, it's called Happy Healthy Human because it's funny because the reason I started it was the exact journey that you kind of just asked me about. I started as a trainer, and then I started to get more into, the nutrition and then behavior change. And what I realized was that everyone who came to me as a personal trainer, as a nutrition coach, as a self-confidence coach, what did they want? They wanted to be happy. I want to lose weight. What happens when I lose the weight? Well, then I'll finally be happy. I want to make more money. Well, what happens when I make more money? Well, then I'll finally be able to have a good life. I want to, with this, like happiness is what we're all looking for, right? It's the simplest thing, but the hardest thing to find. So my podcast is all about these mindset shifts that we can take on to start to live our happy, healthy life today. And I always say happy, healthy human. The last word is human. This is not a man thing or a woman thing or an old people thing or a young people thing. This is humans. We are the same at the end of the day. So that's where I'm most active. It's what I'm super passionate about my podcast, and I give talks like this every week. So that's a great place to find me. And then just on social media, my name @Paul Leviton across all social platforms, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, wherever. And if anyone is interested, again, I mentioned that masterclass on negative thoughts. I'll give that to anyone for free if they want to check it out. Just send me a DM on any of those social platforms and say you found me on the Kimberly Cloud Show, and I will happily send you a negative thinking masterclass to break out of those negative thought patterns completely for free.
Okay. Thank you, Paul, for joining my show. Stay on the line. Y'all take care, and I'll be back on here at 11. Thank you. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Kimberly Cloud Show. I'm your host, Kimberly Cloud. I have a very, very, very special guest here today. Can you go ahead and announce to the world who you are and where you're calling from?
Hi, I'm Kimberly, and I'm calling from upstate New York, just out of Albany.
Cool. And I had to ask you, what is the weather like over there, real quick?
Hot.
Cool.
We were at 84 degrees. It felt like 87 at 11 o'clock this morning. Yeah.
Okay.
It's
So
not typical, really.
Can you go ahead and begin to talk about your past leading up into your present?
Sure. So part of my past is I was raised by 2 alcoholic parents. And I have a sibling. However, the age gap between us, I always felt like an only child. And her childhood, how I perceive it, was totally different than my childhood, just because of the age gap. And so I experienced domestic violence at home with them, with their alcoholism. And then I also experienced it with the partner that I chose, my daughter's father, once I became an older teen, like out of high school. And so he was a drug addict and a drinker as well. So I basically found myself repeating the patterns and living in similar situations and environment of what I grew up with. That even happened after I left her father, because after I left her father, I went through a lot of chaos of having experienced Child Protective Services called on me by him, being like vengeful about it, having to deal with the police, and the police really didn't want to deal with me. They didn't want to handle domestic violence. Constant family court. I can't tell you the amount of hours I spent in family court until she was like 16, 17 years old. And I was the one working full time and raising her on my own. And so it was chaotic and stressful. And I literally was surviving. Some days I was literally surviving by the moment. Like, please just let me get through this. And then I could figure the next thing out. And I'm happy to say that I raised my daughter on my own, and she's now living in Europe, creating and living her own life. I went through my whole journey of realizing that I was sleepwalking for so many years, living in familiar situations that was comfortable but not comfortable, if that makes sense. I was living with a man that I chose later who it felt like I was living like with my father, emotionally unavailable, just disconnected. So once the universe presented that to me in like a mirror fashion, like, hello, you gotta look at it. I decided to take a look within myself, and that led me to going into something of one of my passions that I didn't even know was a passion. But I love listening to people. I love asking questions. I love supporting people so that they can progress. Like, focus on what happened in the past and where are you going in the future, and supporting them in that way. And also, when we went into lockdown, I chose to start writing my life story because I had a lot of stuff coming up around the story's not good enough, who's going to want to read it, and it's not significant. And I found within that journey of writing, it was really not about the writing. It was about the process of the self-discovery, because it opened up the forgiveness and the compassion and learning who I am, because I got to see the lineage in my family, and it's on both sides of the family, a lineage of women who dealt with grief and loss and didn't have a mother figure, so they didn't know how to be a mother. So that explains so much to me, that really helped me to understand not only who I am, but it allowed me to open that space for my ancestors to be like, oh, okay, they only knew what they knew and they didn't know what they didn't know. And so now today I'm helping people to write their memoirs, and I love it because I love helping people with that self-discovery, and I love helping people to get that their stories matter and are significant, and that they have that opportunity to create that possibility for another person, especially a woman, to pick up their story and see there's a chance of transformation and a chance of change if that's what speaks to the person.
Okay, and what, like, I get everything you said, but if you had to give a piece of advice to a woman that is in your old shoes, that is going through abuse, that did not have a mother or a father figure or either or, what advice would that be?
Well, of course we see a lot of things in hindsight. So now looking back and looking at my old self, it's asking for support. It's being willing to see that you don't have to do everything on your own. And that's still something that comes up for me, especially being a single mom. I've been mother and father to her. I've basically been a mother and father to myself for all these years because I really didn't have that influence. So it's really Oh,
It made you stronger, though.
I'm grateful for everything that has occurred in my life because it's really made me who I am. And I know that's like so cliche to some people, but I'm really in like so much gratitude because I really wouldn't be sitting here with you. If you had told me 10 years ago I'd be sitting here with you, I would have laughed. There would have been no way that I thought that I would have been worthy enough, that I would have been enough to do this, and that anybody would have cared to hear my voice. So it's really, I would say definitely being willing to ask for support and being willing to realize that you don't have to do everything on your own and have the courage to go within to look at yourself within, like who you are and what you're responsible and owning what choices you're making in your life.
And tell me a little bit about you being a mentor to the women out there. Tell me a little bit more about that.
Sure. So I typically meet with people virtually. And first it starts with a discovery call. So I want to hear what the person's intentions are. What do they want? What do they see possible? What do they want to create? And sometimes they don't know what they want to create. So it's a matter of asking questions and listening and being in that coaching space. And then a lot of different things comes up with the writing. And you're reliving experiences that you never thought that you'd want to relive. You're reliving situations and circumstances with people and personalities that are probably still showing up in your life. You just don't even probably realize it. So it's working around all of those things that come up, like the worthiness and the reliving the experiences, because you can easily get caught up stories into stories. Does that make sense?
Yes, ma'am. And if you wanted to share anything with your audience about anything of your life that will be educational, more so whatever I said before is excluding that, but anything moving forward, what would you have to give to the audience out there that is listening?
Well, I would love to gift your audience a free ebook. And it's 5 ways to heal from your personal trauma. And I can message you my website that they can go into there and send me an email, and they can see that right in the website. So I would love to do that. Thank you for having me today. I really appreciate you having this space and having me on this space.
You're welcome.
And I would also offer people to give yourself grace. That has been my biggest lesson, that if you have that perfectionism in your life, whatever it is, looks, people pleasing, whatever it is, to allow yourself grace, because we only know what we know and we don't know what we don't know. And I fully believe that we're all a mirror to each other. So there's always a reason or a season people are in your life. And that's even more important, to give yourself grace, because it's allowing yourself to look in yourself.
Now, if you wanted to share, you can, but where is Miss Henry going for the future?
Oh, I am loving being on podcasts and radio shows. It's so much fun. I have met so many incredible people like yourself, and I see myself being on stage, speaking to people about healing and self-discovery and all of those elements that come with it, and the importance of writing your story. Like, if people just get that tomorrow is not guaranteed, and if you feel that your story gets to be told, then do it today, because we don't know what the next moment is going to bring. And imagine all of those people, especially with COVID, because now we're in this situation of like so many people have died, lost their lives. I guarantee you a percentage of those people wanted to write a story, and they didn't know that a pandemic was coming. So you feel that you have a calling to write a story for whatever reason, inspiration, purpose, whatever it is, like you got to do it today. Like, you get to do it ASAP. It doesn't get to be waited.
Have you ever thought about speaking on TEDx or speaking at high schools and events or colleges?
Yeah, I'm looking into that. I'm refining my story on what I want to share for TEDx. And I would love to reach out to local schools. And also what's coming up into my universe and in my space is I'm going to Asia, and I'm going to spend some time over there to then possibly move into that element so I can be in a whole new space. I'm really excited.
I am proud and I respect that. You know, it's funny that I signed up for TEDx. Just a side note, I signed up for TEDx, and it's free to sign up if you go on their website, but it's hard to get in. They have online and they have open, you know, mic where you're talking in front of people, thousands of people. So, you know, I hope that you get in because you have a story to tell about the abuse you endured with 2 alcoholic parents. Now, do you still keep in contact with your parents?
Yeah, both have passed on.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Thank you. My dad, it was a lot of unresolved things with him. He passed very sudden, and it was wow. And I had a lot of stuff come up around that. I still feel like I still have some things that I get to work on around my dad. I'm in a place now where I choose to have a different relationship with him, even though he's on the other side, so that I can have that peace and I can have that forgiveness. Because what I found interesting is once I started really working on myself, I realized I had a whole perception of him as especially a child. And then when I really took a look at all of the facts about who he was, my whole perception was totally different, because I see now who he truly was. Like, he worked, he was an entrepreneur. He was basically self-employed. And so he worked his butt off that when somebody wanted a job done, they were going to go to him. They thought of him right away. As a kid, I couldn't see that because I saw the drinking and I saw the anger. And I've always been intuitive and empathic. So I've always been able to pick up different energies from people. And I knew as a kid there was something very upsetting and sad about my dad and my mom. But my dad, it was so heavy. And in fact, I remember a time when I was in high school, and interesting enough, probably not surprising, we always lived near a bar. So it was either across the street, we lived downstairs, upstairs, around the corner. It was always in the vicinity. And when I was in high school, we lived around the corner. And oftentimes I felt responsible that I'd go over there and make sure they got home. And by the time I was in high school, their alcoholism was pretty bad. It was pretty much at a rage. And I felt responsible, so I literally would walk him home, his arm around my neck, on my body, and I'm walking him down the street and around the corner to go home. And it was coming. So you feel that you have a calling. A percentage of those people wanted to write a story, and they didn't know that a pandemic was coming. So you feel that you have a calling to write a story for whatever reason, inspiration, purpose, whatever it is. Like you got to do it today. Like you get to do it ASAP because it doesn't get to be waited.
Have you ever thought about speaking on TEDx or speaking at high schools?
Was resolved things with him. He passed very sudden, and it was well, I know I left him. Especially a child. And then when I really took a look at all of the facts, I was in high school, their alcoholism was pretty bad. It was pretty questions. My father was living his life as a scared little 9-year-old and he didn't enough.
Oh, I didn't mean to do that. How do I go back?
There, and I will see y'all another time.
For the free ebook. They'll see a book of discovery call.
Thank you so much. Well said. And such a
side of him. And what I realize now, years later, is I was allowing my father to be in the space of being that 9-year-old boy who never got to be a child. He never got to be a boy. He didn't get to grieve. He didn't get to be with that loss. So it's very interesting how my perceptions changed once I really went into myself and started taking that responsibility of how am I looking at people? What are my perceptions? My father was to do it ASAP because it doesn't get to be waited. My father was living his inspiration, purpose, whatever it is, like you got to do it today. Like you get to do it. It's now that a pandemic was coming. So you feel that you have a calling to write a story for whatever reason, inspiration, purpose, whatever it is, like you got to do it today. Like you get to do it ASAP because it doesn't get to be waited. My father was living his life as a scared little 9-year-old boy who's brought, I can send you the website.
The story. Now, the last, thank you so much. Well said, and such a powerful, powerful story. Now, the last question I have for you is how can the people reach you if they wanted to get a memoir done?
Sure. I can send you the website, and that's where they can also book a discovery call with me. So through the website, they'll see a book a discovery call and also the option to email me for the free ebook.
All right. Thank you so much. Stay on the line. Thank you all so much for joining my show. And you all take care. Be safe out there. And I will see y'all another time. Bye.
I'm going to send all this tomorrow. I'm going to be up early. I'm just going to put it on Facebook for right now. Okay, it was successful. Okay. What am I doing? We transfer. Look up Paul Leviton. Mm-mm. I'm opening my Apple Podcasts. So tomorrow everything will be ready. When it gets to 45, let me write this down. 45, open season 2. Wow. Season 5. Let me go ahead and introduce it. Theo Boyd. Let's delete the broadcast. Not of Theo's, but something else. So I have 2 that I have to do. I have Kelly McLean. Who is that? Let me view it.
Hi, everybody.
Oh,
Welcome to the
her.
Kimberly Clark.
Cool. Kelly. Tomorrow. And Theo Board. Tomorrow. Up early. 4 o'clock. 4 o'clock. Is those Stella on here? Yes. So it's just those two gals. Let me go to my library and delete those two people. Did I delete it already? No. Anything round two, I don't want to do. Who is this? Let me see it.
Video on me. A lot of people
Oh, him.
told,
Hell yeah. I'm going to redo it. If you don't get it, you don't get it. If you do, we do. Okay, this is deleted out my mailbox. I should wait till it gets to 50. So Apple Podcast tomorrow. Read some of the chapters that the young gentleman gave me. And that's it. What is going on with my stuff? Paul Leviton. You both are on the producers platforms. You all are on the platforms. MNN, TVSB, Long Talk TV, Thurston County Community Media, NDCTV. Take care of your and oh, I got and Roku. Take care on your on your lesson. Here we go. Here we go. Here I go again. What's my position, man? Beetle Boy. It is about editing a video. I'm about to get off of here. I did it on Facebook and WeTransfer for right now. But tomorrow I'm gonna be doing Long Park, Santa Barbara, Thurston County, DC, at Manhattan Neighborhood Network. Then, sorry, sorry about that. I'm downloading so many things. That's why I want to wait. And then I have number 37. Yeah, 37. Which one came first? Kelly. 37 and 38. For Kelly McLean and Theo Boyd tomorrow on Apple. And then after that, I have a podcast at 10 a.m. So that's what's going on. So yeah, I know I don't be on here like that. Let me see. 17.40%. What do you want? What do you? I I'm confused. Administration. That's all I'm gonna say. Wow. Now I know what you're saying. Y'all are very powerful. I may sound crazy, but they know what I'm saying. And I'm not going to sit up there and dig deep. Let me remember again. I said distinctively between. No, I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to say it because I'm the one that looks crazy. I'm going to look crazy saying it. But I know. I'll say it when I'm by myself because now I know. Thank you for telling me that because I was going to make a move that was going, I knew it was going to really mess me up. I was going to make that move. And y'all, I thought it. I thought it. I didn't ever say it. I didn't ever say it out loud. I thought it. But I'm crazy. I'm being mentally unstable, so I don't care. Good. Let me be mentally unstable. But I can remember what I was thinking. And I know the message I just got. That's why I would never show nobody my messages. Happened around the same time I made that move. Thank you, sir. Thank you, administration. Thank you, you guys, for being there for me. I appreciate you. I have to get off of here so I can be up early tomorrow. And y'all take care. Be safe. And I'll see you guys another time.